Hey, what's going on? This is KLA, Cloud the Wanderer, and on a Tuesday morning, with the lovely Ryan Martin, figure at IFBB Pro, and she's here to talk about how she got started in bodybuilding and nutrition. And welcome,
Thank
Ryan. How
you.
you been?
I've been great. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to today's conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I seen your interview with all the Rage George Page, and you
Yeah.
was breaking down nutrition stuff.
Yes. Yeah. So
Did you
when I was
always?
about, I got
I
into
was gonna.
nutrition. hmm
No, I was gonna ask you. Did was you always fascinated with nutrition?
with, I would say not always. No, I ate like I was raised and ate like the average American for till I was probably about 30. And then, but I was really interested as a teenager in herbs. So, so I really kind of from there, I didn't really realize that there were professions that dealt um, in the medical world that dealt with like herbs and nutrition and things like that. So I kind of went business until I would say my mid 30s, and then I started to get more heavily into the nutrition. But Florida state boards haven't been updated in almost 70 years. So the schooling that I was taking wouldn't allow me to sit for the boards to be a nutritionist. And so I stopped taking the nutrition, sitting like for the nutrition to get my PhD in nutrition. And then I switched my schooling to getting my PhD in natural medicine. So it's a little bit more of an all inclusive. So, yes, there is an aspect that is dealing with nutrition, but there's other things involved in it as well, looking at how our cells operate, how our hormones are. We look at different devices that help with recovery, how our mindset impacts us, because a lot of times we can present with ailments in our body that has an emotional component to it as well. So, and speaking about nutrition, I see a lot of women who have been. Hold on a second. Hey, I thought we were. Hold on one quick second. Um, somebody, I've got a client real quick.
Okay, I'll show some clips.
I'll have to jump out again. Oh, okay. It'll take a few minutes. I said it'll take a few minutes. She just had to go to the bathroom, but I'll have to put her on a device real quick. Um, but and I'm sorry about that. I thought I had scheduled her for this afternoon, but she's here now. So give me 2 seconds.
Okay, maybe I should have recorded this. Yeah, this is her clips, guys.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that.
Okay.
You got a picture of me posing. I like that.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you have a nice physique. I know we was getting into the nutrition part, but
Yeah.
like, how did you get started in bodybuilding, and when did you wanted to have the desire to compete?
Well, I always had the desire to, I always wanted to compete. So when my daughter was first born, that was when bikini came out.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually really loved the way the fitness models looked, but I never did gymnastics. And my flexibility is not very good. So I never thought about doing bodybuilding until bikini was released. And so for like over 10 years, I kept saying, oh, I want to do a competition. I want to do a competition. But like the majority of the average Americans, I kept having life get in the way because it wasn't a high priority for me. So then after 10 years, my mother in law passing, me being laid off, um, I kind of hit my little midlife crisis. And I said, you know what? It's time for me to either shit or get off the pot. And I signed up for a personal trainer to help me to get me to that next level. I was a trainer myself, but I knew I needed somebody to I like a little, okay, I like a lot of hand holding when I'm learning something new. And so he wanted me to do the Daytona. I didn't think I was ready for it. I didn't think I have enough. I didn't have enough muscle and I wasn't lean enough. So I waited until November and then I did a show in South Florida and I fell in love. I really thought I was one and done, like check that little box off my never ending to do list. And, but I fell in love with the whole process, the being at the show and everything. So, uh, right afterwards, I broke my wrist from a mountain biking accident and I realized how important the bodybuilding really was for me. So at that point, that's when I put a high priority and I just put my head down and we started focusing on it. And really since then, I probably have only had 4 days off. Like it
Mhm.
4 consecutive days off in a row. Like I haven't taken an entire week off in forever. So even when we went
So
to
injury.
Ireland,
No, I was saying I was going to ask. So injury kind of made you realize that bodybuilding is really something that you want to do.
yes, exactly. Sometimes
Mhm.
God throws negative experiences into your life in order to teach you a lesson, in order for you to realize how important everything else is. And I think that's a great example of what happened. So I had another example where right after my father had passed, my the company that I was working for, um, we had a clashing, and because I bought a device that we did not sell and I made a social media post about it and how it was helping me through the emotional process of losing my father. And less than 36 hours later, the CEO sends me a text, you're either with us or against us. And so I had another company offer me a position to be their COO. And the company that I was previously working for, which no longer exists, um, threatened to sue me. So, and in that process, it saved me because my mindset was still like I was still highly stressed out and I didn't realize it at the time. That moving into that COO position would not have been the best situation environment for me or for them. So it allowed me to stay more as a independent sales rep. Um, and it brought me to where I am today. So, all things, everything happens for a reason and it's always for the best. Even
Yeah,
if it's like a negative experience that you're going on, that is currently going on in your life, it always is going to turn out to be where you were meant to be.
right. Yeah, like how would you tell like the basic person about like nutrition, like taking care of yourself?
Okay, so some things to that I really strongly recommend people to do, for the layperson, not somebody looking to step on stage or anything like that, but you want somebody who wants to um, take better care of themselves. You want to first start out with eating on the outside of the grocery store. So, really, the only time you should go into the aisles is when you have to buy like frozen fruits or vegetables, because usually I'll buy my fruit frozen, um, water, your cleaning supplies, things like that. Those are the only aisles that you should be going down. So anything like popcorn, chips, these pre-made meals that you just pop in the microwave, those at a grocery store are usually not very good because they're loaded with a lot of preservatives, additives, a lot of things that can cause issues with you. And most people have some form of chronic inflammation going on and or leaky gut going on, especially here in the United States, because they're not eating real food. It's fake food. So, and if we're stay on the outside and we're eating, our lean meats, fish and or salmon like once or twice a week. There's this new one that I found recently. It's Australian sea bass. It's called Burramundi. It's actually at Walmart. They have two packs. It's in a black bag, but two fillets for like $10. And one serving of that, like one fillet, which is about 4 ounces cooked, will give you 32 grams of protein, 2 grams of fat, and it'll give you 650 milligrams of your omegas. So it's actually one of the highest concentration of omegas that you can get in your diet. So same thing, salmon is also typically one that is used, but they're usually farmed. So you got to find some good quality sources for the salmon, and you really don't want to eat it too often. Um, and then obviously chicken, turkey. I like red meat. Um, uh, as long as as long as it's on the leaner side, or if you're eating fatty or cuts of red meat, um, like your ribeyes or things like that, then you want to eat the fats away from your carbs, so that your body is using fat as fuel versus the carbohydrates. And then because what will happen is the body will naturally want to use carbohydrates. It is the easier um, macro to use for fuel. So if you eat them together, then the body will most likely store the fat as fat. So,
Yeah,
and protein really doesn't get stored in the body. So, and then the older you are, the more protein you need. So there's this thing called sarcopenia, which is muscle loss due to aging. And the from like 30, you lose anywhere from 2 to 8% of your muscle mass per decade. But once you hit 60, 70, it can be upwards of 20% if you're not doing resistance training. So that's why you find people are not able to do as much as they get older. And then our bodies need to assimilate more protein, which is why I usually tell everybody who is on a GLP-1 and older that they have to make the protein the priority. And, they need to be eating 4 to 6 ounces per meal, multiple meals a day. So, but they really need to make sure that they're getting it first meal in the morning, because that's what takes you out of a catabolic state where I'm muscle wasting into an anabolic state where we're talking about building muscle up. So and then the last meal, you want to make sure that the last meal is also high protein, and both of those two meals need to have between 2.5 to 3 grams of leucine, which is one of the amino acids inside of protein. So Dr. Lyons has been talking a lot about it. And one of the supplement companies that I personally use myself as well as with my clients is called Perfect Amino. And it's all a vegetarian source. And especially for vegetarians, it's very hard to get them high enough protein content. So I don't usually work with a lot of vegetarians. So,
Mm. Yeah, I used to. I remember, wow, like years ago, I tried to do the vegetarian thing, but it didn't work out. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. I was trying to read and, just kind of understand. And I started losing weight, but I don't know, like to the outside, the people that I know, they was very concerned. So I don't know. I
yeah,
just kind of switched back to just eating like meat, but I would drop the red meat and eat chicken, and it was tough. I'm not gonna lie, it was tough. Just giving up certain foods and stuff.
yeah.
So yeah, that's a lot. You was breaking down. I mean, like you said that there was a protein that's in Australia.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's called Australian sea bass. So, we're
Oh, okay. Too bad.
yeah, yeah.
I
And
think
so,
I
but
had. Oh,
but it's I think it's pronounced Burundy. It comes in a black bag. You can actually find them at Walmart. If you have a Publix, there's another fish that I really like. It is called orange roughy. Both of these fish don't taste like fish. So if you're not somebody
okay.
that likes to eat fish because of that fishy taste, these are two great options. My husband jokingly calls the orange roughy the fillet of the sea. So because it tastes so good. But what I really like about the orange roughy, especially for clients that have constipation, is there is an oil inside of the fish that our body doesn't absorb. So it helps to lubricate the GI tract. So if you have constipation, it's another way to address it. So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Well, let me show some clips a little bit of you.
yes. So
Mm,
that was the day that myself and my trainer Roger went to Rhine. It's a new gym down in the Orlando area. I want to say it's Oviedo, but I always get confused with the different areas of Orlando. We were working one of one of Deke's shows, and we were promoting Rogers Rice, which is this new um, rice product that he has created, and their posing gym is by far the best gym or the best posing gym I have seen to date. So they've spent, I want to say, over $15,000 on this posing room where they can actually make it so that it's stage quality lighting. So you can do the more fancy, lighting for like Instagram and things like that. So, and this was my last show, which was Body B1. So,
yeah. Like, how do you like how many times do you work on your posing in the hill?
so I right now it's every day, sometimes multiple times in a day. Posing
Mm,
is by far my weakest link, um, and um, one of my personal goals at this particular competition was to be more confident on stage. And this was only my second pro show. So I definitely achieved that. It was funny. I felt more nervous than I looked on stage, which I think is the case a lot. Or I felt like I was shaking with the muscles, like as you're flexing. Um, Sometimes the body will just kind of shake a little, or at least it does for me. And and I didn't see it in the video as much as I felt it on stage, which is good. So,
Yeah.
and then the next show that's coming up is in about 3.5 weeks or 3 weeks. And that's the Tampa Pro. I'm doing both the Masters as well as the Open. So the Masters compete on Thursday evening. So it's only one show. So they're going to do all the comparisons, all the prejudging and awards in the evening only for the Masters. And then the Open, they do the prejudging and then the awards at the end. So I'm looking forward to that because it is the first time I will see how my body responds to prepping 2 separate days in a row. Well, not in a row because I'll have Friday off. Roger will also be there with his Roger's rice, which is the best rice pudding that you'll have. It replaces all of your cream of rice and all of your rice, gram for gram, and it does not bloat you or it doesn't bloat me like either one of those um, other products would. So I can actually get more calories in, and it's super easy to make and use, especially when you're on the road. All I need is a bottle of water and I can prep it. So no cooking is required. So he'll
Okay.
be there with doing samples as well. And then the show
Okay.
after that is Max Fit, which is masters only. And that's up in the Panhandle. So if you're noticing a theme here, my theme for shows was no flying. So I wanted to keep the cost low. So I'm doing all my own hair and makeup. I pay for the tan because I always find that if you're not using the tanning companies, you're going to look a little off from everybody else. I am um, trying to not get there like a week before time to keep the cost of the hotel. Because right now, like the Tampa Pro, the hotel cost alone is almost $1,400 because it's so
Yeah.
long that I have to be there. The Max Fit is running me. I'm not staying at the host hotel right now, but I did just get an email. Um, so I might look at the cost difference and switch because I can cancel my original um, reservation. But it would have, like regular pricing, would have cost me almost $1,000 in hotel fees from Thursday to Sunday. But the hotel that I found, I'm getting it for about $400. So I was like, yay, super happy about that. So, and then, um, and then if I stay at the host hotel, it might be closer to 700, I think, with the special code and pricing that they give you. So,
Yeah.
but
Could it could it does it be like stressful for you just in competing because you got to pay for stuff and it's expensive and you don't do flights so with the bus ride.
yeah, so well, I have in the past, I have flown in the past, but I always find that my body responds better and my brain responds better to driving. I like to be busy. So I actually worked all the way like a full day on Wednesday. And then Thursday, I did my nails. And then we drove to Montgomery, which is about a 6.5 hour drive. So that was the first time I got to be a passenger princess when my mom and I drove up to um, Teaneck for Universe. When I won my pro card, I drove the
Oh,
whole.
okay.
Yeah, we just when I got tired, we'd find a hotel, pull over, get the hotel for the night, and then
Was this
keep on
last
moving.
year?
Oh, that was 2 years ago. Yeah, two
Oh,
years
okay.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
So
recently yeah, I was watching the stream on the universe. I went last year too, but I wasn't there for figure and women's physique. I was there for fit model and wellness and
yeah,
bikini and stuff. And then this year I didn't make it. I watched the stream and stuff.
yeah,
But
yeah. I didn't make it either. Next year, hopefully, I'll be able to make some of the larger shows. If not for myself with clients, but with Rogers Rice and helping them promote their products. So as they're slowly getting bigger and bigger and bigger, because they've only been around for since April, no, February.
Yeah, and that's all they do is promote like rice pudding.
Yeah, it's that's all it is. Now, remember how we were talking about nutrition, right?
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
don't like the processing. You know, you try to minimize the amount of processed foods that you can consume. So with Rogers Rice, there's one ingredient, rice. They just have a specialized process that they do, and it's actually rice. It's not rice flour, which is what some other brands, some other rice pudding brands are. And then cream of rice is usually rice flour as well. So it has a different glycemic index on the body than the cream of rice. So cream of rice is usually, or rice flour is going to be closer to sugar at between 80 and 90, whereas Rogers rice is going to be closer to 50, 55. So
No. As a bodybuilder, like you think you would promote more of nutrition like in a cookbook? That
yeah,
I don't know. I'm just throwing that in there because I see
I
people. A lot of people do cookbooks and stuff like that, and I was just asking. And you seem like you know a lot about nutrition, and
yeah,
people.
I jokingly say there's a fat girl in here, so I've got to appease her as well as reach my goals. So if I can get creative with some of my diet choices, then she's happy and I'm happy. And I've thought about coming up with the cookbook, but like you said, a lot of bodybuilders have already done it, so I don't know if I will go ahead and do it. I post
No,
a
I
lot of
didn't mean
things.
bodybuilders, but I'm just saying people in general, like they're like more of culinary arts or they just
Yeah.
like to cook. You don't have to be a bodybuilder
No, yeah,
to
yeah.
make. Oh, I was just
Yes, agreed.
asking.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't have any plans to put one together, but I have also thought about doing it. So
Okay. Yeah, when you started, like did you had your coach telling you what to do mostly, right? Like in nutrition. And when you was getting ready to do bodybuilding and training?
no. So I did all of my own nutrition except for the last week. So the
Oh,
last
okay.
week, um the first trainer that I worked with, he would give me a peak week program, and I will never boil chicken ever again. He was old school. And so
Mhm.
he would pull all salt out. So that was not a good look for me. But, we live and learn, right? Um, and then the next trainer that I use, same situation. Like he would go, okay, we want to increase your macros just a little bit. So, add X number. He would also say, I want you to eat 3,000 calories from 1,500 to 3,000 overnight. And I was like, this isn't a good look either. So again, you live and learn, right? But I followed I followed what they recommended. Then Andy, he was the next trainer that I've used. And he actually gave me a meal plan that he would update on a fairly regular basis throughout the entire year: build phase, cut phase, the whole kit and caboodle. And I followed it fairly well. There were some times where I'd miss meals, because I do one swing or another. I'm either an overeater for emotional stress, or I just stop eating altogether. And that particular year, I kind of went the I'm going to stop eating. And um, so that year, I was probably only eating maybe 2 meals, maybe a third meal, but supplementing with that perfect amino that I was talking about earlier, hoping that that would at least save my muscle tissue. And so I came in leaner sooner than what my original game plan was. So we shot for the Toronto Pro, and that did not turn out very well as a pro debut. So I kind of look at Body B1 as my more of my debut, and it gave me, I think I did a better job representing myself at that show than ever before. So, and then there's always improvements. So what I've learned in bodybuilding is I have no control on who steps on stage with me. And that was a show that is a perfect example. So the person who won that, she actually was a physique pro that stepped down from physique to figure, and she won overall. She looked great. The person who came in second has come in second in like the last 8 consecutive shows that she has done. And, she has been competing as a figure pro for something like 8 years. And she's still in in her 30s. So these women they have more muscle density than me. They had more experience than me. So I was very happy with, where we were. And as time progresses, we'll just continue to get better and better and better. Um, so that's why I like to set goals for myself that only I can control, which is, like slowing down, making sure that I give myself the time for the photographers to take the correct photos for each individual pose, enjoy the whole process. I think I got caught dancing. It was a real hard time for me as we were lined up and they were doing the comparisons. They had like a line dancing song come on, and I had a hard time not like dancing to the song. It's just having so much fun. So, and that's
Mm.
what I mean. Like, it doesn't matter for me if I'm on stage, if I'm helping somebody like expedite the show, or if I am helping a client prep a client for the competition. I just have so much fun at the shows. I think they're great. I think the organizers are usually always trying to do their best to make it an enjoyable experience for the athletes. And I just there's never been a bad experience for me. So
What would you say would be your best show since you
body B
competed?
body B1 would be
Might be
my
one.
best presentation, right? I really liked it was a very laid back environment. The only drawback to that place is it wasn't a very large pump up room. So we were kind of like on top of each other. And other than that, it was great. A beautiful hotel, and it was massive, the convention center. Um, the local shows for like NPC, one of my favorite shows is actually coming up in a 2 week, well, a week and a half, and that's Ty Pope. He does a great job putting on the show for the athletes. He usually goes all out with the food after the show for everybody. That was the first time I stepped on stage, so maybe I'm biased, but that was the first time I stepped on stage as a figure competitor. And it was so when I turned around to do my back pose, the crowd went, wow. It's the first and only time that has happened. And I was like, I'll never forget that. So I try to recommend my clients to go to that particular show if it fits their timeline, because it was such a good experience for me. And
And what's
then
the name of the show again?
Ty Pope,
The
Ty Pope Classic.
Typo? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Typo Classic.
And that one's in, want to say it's Altamont Springs, but again, it's that Orlando area.
Yeah.
Um, so I kind of bucket because I live about an hour and a half north. So I bucket all of those little towns in or around Orlando as Orlando, you know. So
Okay. So
yeah.
you're based on Florida. Yeah, I think you were saying that in the beginning. I was trying to catch it a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can't remember, where are you based out of? New York?
Yeah, New York City.
Yeah.
Like the shows I go to, it's I went to the New York Pro recently, you know.
Nice.
Yeah. They didn't have women's bodybuilding, so they had women's physique. But did they have figure? Yeah, yeah, they had
Yeah,
figure. They had fit model and bikini and wellness
yeah.
and stuff like that. So yeah, yeah. Is there anybody that I don't know. I don't even know if I should ask the question, but is there anybody that you admire? Like you like, wow, she has a nice physique. I like, her posing and stuff and figure.
Oh my gosh, there's tons of people, but I was really happy at Body B1. I had an opportunity to meet Sydney, and I was actually surprised that she is not as tall as I thought she was. She's only about yay taller than me. And
Mm,
Natalia out of Mexico, she's also about my height. I had an opportunity to meet her 2 years prior to turning pro, and I was like, oh, she gives me hope. I actually have a potential at possibly doing this as a pro, because I know figure is generally, most of the figure competitors are over 5'5", and they're closer to 5'7". I'm not even 5'2". I'm like 5'1 3/4". So
yeah.
so I'm on the shorter end.
Mm,
So in my build phase, I've had people say, "Oh, I really like you for physique," until you step up to the other Natalia, the one that just won Olympia, and I look like a bikini competitor next to her. So, but her and I actually, she's already graduated, but we went to the same schools, so we have a very similar background. She's also like 20 years my junior, so yeah, but she's an amazing
yeah.
person. So
Yeah, I don't be realizing how the figure, you guys are, some of you guys are 5 foot, just 5'1" and stuff like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
my
Like,
my
like,
friend,
no, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go
I
ahead.
was going to say, my friend Samantha, who also competed at Body B1, she she's even shorter than me. So, but she has a great X frame.
Yeah. Like,
So
like when you do like when on your in your so you get up like early, like in the morning, just to like you work out and do other things.
yeah, so I'll depending on where I am in my phase, I will either do my fasted cardio. I pray the rosary. I try to read the Bible, so that's my meditation. And then
Okay.
if I start seeing clients at between 5 and 6 o'clock, if I have a morning where I don't see somebody until 8:30, I'll try to go to mass. But that's and then I always I prep my meals for the daytime, so meals 2 through 5 or 6, and breakfast, though, I try to cook that fresh. So that's why I have to wake up so early, and then practice posing every day. So every morning, first thing, before I even wake up or drink my cup of coffee. Actually, I'm drinking my coffee while I'm practicing posing most of the time. So
Okay.
yeah, but to that,
Well,
I was going to
yeah,
say
I'm
I'm
gonna
going to
let
have
you
to
go.
wrap
I
it
was
up.
gonna let
Yeah.
you go. I know. I just wanted to ask you one more question, but I
Oh yeah.
appreciate you.
What's the
Yeah.
last question?
No, that was the last question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. I know you're busy, so
I know.
I appreciate you. Yeah,
Oh
I
well, I
mean you
appreciate you
got a busy
too.
schedule. Yeah, no problem. All right.
Right.
That I think that's about it.
All right. Great.
All right.
Thanks. All right. We'll talk
All right.
soon.
Okay, we will.
All right. Bye.